I thought asking for space was the most honest thing I could do. I wasn't trying to hurt him. I wasn't trying to play games. I was trying to save myself and maybe even save us. I had no idea that one request would cost me both my relationship and my sense of family. Before I continue, take a moment to subscribe. These are real-life stories about love, betrayal, and the moments that change how we see people forever. If stories like this help you feel understood, you're in the right place. My boyfriend and I had been together for almost 3 years. We met in our mid-20s, and for a long time, things were good, not perfect, but real. We shared routines, inside jokes, future plans. He knew my family, I knew his. Holidays, birthdays, all of it. But over time, something shifted. We weren't fighting constantly. That was the confusing part. We were just stuck. Conversations felt repetitive. Arguments never fully resolved. I started feeling unsure about where we were heading, and that uncertainty sat heavy in my chest. I didn't want to break up, I wanted clarity. So after weeks of overthinking, I sat him down and told him how I felt. I said I was overwhelmed, that I needed time to think, that I needed space to figure out what I wanted and whether we were still moving in the same direction. I was careful with my words, I remember that clearly. I told him I still cared about him. I told him this wasn't about someone else. I told him I wasn't asking to see other people. I said I just need space. He listened quietly, he didn't interrupt, he didn't argue, he nodded and said he understood. Looking back, his calm should have scared me. We agreed it wasn't a breakup, we agreed we wouldn't date other people, we agreed to check in after some time had passed. At least that's what I thought we agreed on. The first few days felt strange but manageable. I spent time alone, something I hadn't done in a while. I went on long walks, I wrote in a notebook, I tried to sort through my feelings instead of pushing them down. He barely texted. When he did, it was short and polite, no emotion, no questions. I told myself he was just giving me the space I asked for. A week later, my cousin invited me to a small family get-together. Nothing special, just a casual night with food and conversation. I almost didn't go, but I didn't want to be alone in my head. The night started normal. I said hello to everyone, hugged a few relatives, grabbed a drink. Then I walked into the living room. That's when everything stopped. He was sitting on the couch. My boyfriend. Next to my cousin. They were laughing, leaning toward each other, comfortable in a way that made my stomach drop. At first, I honestly thought I was misunderstanding the situation. I told myself maybe he was just being friendly, maybe I was being paranoid, maybe my cousin had no idea about our situation. Then I saw her hand resting on his arm. My heart started pounding, my ears rang, I felt heat rush to my face. I stood there frozen, watching them like I was watching a scene from someone else's life. When he noticed me, his expression changed instantly. His smile disappeared, his body stiffened. That was the moment I knew. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I didn't make a scene. I quietly asked him if we could talk outside. He followed me, clearly annoyed, not embarrassed. I asked him what was going on. He sighed and said, "You asked for space, I didn't think we were together anymore." I reminded him of our conversation. I reminded him that we agreed not to see other people. I reminded him that it had only been a week. He shrugged. Then he said something I will never forget. "You pushed me away," she didn't. That sentence hurt more than I expected. I looked back at my cousin. She wouldn't look at me, not once. She didn't apologize, she didn't explain, she just sat there in silence. I left without saying goodbye to anyone. That night I cried harder than I ever had before. Not just because of him, but because of the betrayal from someone I loved and someone I trusted as family. In the days that followed, everything felt heavy. I replayed the conversation over and over again. I questioned my words, my timing, my intentions. Was I wrong to ask for space? Was I selfish? Did I cause this? When I confronted my cousin later, hopping for some kind of explanation, it only made things worse. She told me I shouldn't have taken a break if I really loved him. She said I made him available. That hurt deeply. I realized then that neither of them truly respected me. If someone can replace you in a week, they were already halfway out the door. And if family can cross that line without hesitation, it reveals something painful about their character. What hurt most wasn't losing him. It was losing trust. It was realizing how easily I could be dismissed, how my need for clarity became an excuse for betrayal. Months passed. They didn't last. People told me that should make me feel better. It didn't. It just confirmed that I had been caught in the middle of two people who didn't know how to respect boundaries. Over time, I started to understand something important. Asking for space is not abandonment, it's communication. Healthy people don't punish you for being honest about your feelings. They don't rush to replace you the moment things get uncomfortable. And love that disappears the second you step back isn't love worth holding on to. I didn't lose a boyfriend that week. I lost an illusion. And painful as it was, that loss taught me to choose myself more carefully, to set clearer boundaries, to believe people when their actions show me who they are. If you're asking for space in your relationship, be clear. And if someone responds by hurting you instead of respecting you, understand that you didn't cause it, you uncovered it. If this story made you think, subscribe for more real-life stories about love, betrayal, and learning to protect your heart.